The Mariners sail north in search of back-to-back wins for the first time this season against the side who spoiled their New Year's Eve party, Brisbane Roar. Good afternoon, it's great to have your company. We're here on Ningi country at KO Stadium in Redcliffe. It's Brisbane Roar hosting the Mariners in match day 16 of the A-League men. Both sides on the Isuzu Ute Tunnel camp. Continuing a rivalry steeped in A-League folklore. Almost 15 years on from the most dramatic grand final in A-League history. The tension, it still simmers. You only have to go back to New Year's Eve. Michael Valkanis sent off an explosive halftime confrontation and the Roar ruining the Mariners' party. It's also a big day for assistant referee Ashley Beecham. His 200th A-League match this afternoon. And he's got daughters Ariana and Eloise alongside. So congratulations to Ashley. What an afternoon awaits us. What a transformation both sides have undergone since New Year's Eve. The Mariners, well, they have turned the corner. Brisbane, similarly, but not in a good way. Two changes since they were humbled by the Jets last week. D'Agostino starts for the first time since joining the club in January. He comes in for the suspended Chris Long. Michael Roos also returns against his old side. His only goal this season came against the Mariners on New Year's Eve. So Justin Vidic drops to the bench. Also, a couple of changes for the Mariners. Steele is back into the 11 and at just 23, he brings up a century of A-League appearances. Brad Tapp is also back in the starting side. Alfie McCalman sidelined with an abdominal issue, while Nathan Paul suspended for the red card last week in the win over Victory. Kickoff is next. Well, you look at the record of Michael Valkanis' team since that New Year's Eve win over the Mariners. 5 defeats in 6. And he was sent off on that fiery afternoon. He's going over here to shake hands with Warren Moon. So this will be an intriguing pre-match. So no tension, it would seem, from the outset. And the former Brisbane Roar head coach made headlines for calling into question the conduct of the Raw coaching staff. He said it was a disgrace last time they met. Brisbane responded by threatening legal action. So Lachlan Keevers, the air traffic controller, as well as an A-League referee, takes charge of his 39th A-League men's match. Assistants Ashley Beecham and James Sherry. Zach Keenan is the fourth official. And in the VAR centre is Sam Kelly, assisted by Anton Shetinen. A big pre-match confrontation this for Brisbane Roar. So can Brisbane turn around a wretched run of recent form? Nick D'Agostino will certainly think so. He starts for Brisbane for the first time since April 2019. That afternoon, it was Anzac Day, and he scored in a 5-3 defeat to Adelaide, no doubt. They want to do the same this afternoon. And there is the Terrigal Junior. He is one of their own. Harry Steele. He's been training the house down the last couple of weeks. He's back in the starting side. So, under the Redcliffe heat, we're about to find out which way both seasons turn, and it's a very good evening to a man synonymous with this rivalry, Eric Partaloo. Eric, can the Mariners make it back-to-back wins for the first time this season, or will the Roar rediscover their mojo?
Good afternoon, Ben. Yeah, what a cracking game we have here at KO Stadium. To answer your question, I think the Mariners have got a great chance, and it's because they hold an undefeated record at KO Stadium, the only A-League side to do that has played here at this venue. So it just seems like there's a little bit more in terms of having weapons in that final third. They look like a different team, but Brisbane, they've got to get back on the horse quickly. They've got to find some form. Otherwise, their season is going to fizzle out.
Well, has the horse bolted? Brisbane fans will hope not. But if the Mariners win this one this afternoon, many will question whether it had, and whether the fire which Brisbane began the season with has extinguished. But they can put the ghosts of January behind them, Brisbane. There's a lot of talk this week about that start to the season. I know Andrew Howe mentioned it during the week that the Jets' start to the new year is the best ever. Well, Brisbane went the other way. 5 defeats in 6, but January doesn't win you the championship, nor does it win you the premiership. It can assist, and Brisbane have got to put that behind them and know that they are within striking distance of the 6.
Well, guess where that started, Benny? It started here against Wellington, a 3-0 loss, and they haven't really recovered since then. And yeah, we can talk about the loss of Harrington, Stage, and now Jay O'Shea. It's a big part of that starting 11 gone. Have they replaced it? Can they cover those holes? They've got to find something different. They have D'Agostino up front today. I'm really excited to see how he goes.
It's actually Steich's birthday today, 24 years of age, so we wish him the best of luck in his recovery from that nasty hamstring injury suffered in the warm-up against the Reds back in December. So here's James Donachie, an ex-Raw man in this lineup, 2014 championship winner with Brisbane. 2-1 defeat of Western Sydney Wanderers under Mike Mulvey, who went on to coach the Mariners as well. It's an often forgotten grand final, I feel like, in the glory days of the Raw. So Ludwig picks out Salas. Gives them plenty of pace and energy on the edge. Look at this, Brisbane. You can just feel they are right up for this here today. Tackles flying in.
Yeah, it's been quite a controlled start from Brisbane Roar. We were kind of questioning before the game, where would Ludwig be operating? Would he be in fact playing in a back 5? Would he be playing as a number 6? And I think for Brisbane Roar, they've missed that position. And no doubt Millerad Stage was such a big part of their plans. Jay O'Shea slots right into that position, but that formation now, it looks as though it is a back 4 with a diamond in the middle, and they need more out of players like Georgios Vrakas, who is playing a little bit more central.
So this is Salas. So we're seeing a reshuffling formation, and this is back to the way Brisbane were starting the season, playing that back 5, back 3. So they made those couple of changes up top with D'Agostino and Roos coming in, but also the other shuffle is O'Shea out with that injury, and Billity coming back into the side. So some more defensive cover at the back. After they conceded 4 last week against the Jets. That is experience work from young Lucas Moragas.
And that's going to be where the Brisbane Roar need to be more effective. When they go in to play inside, who's running from the outside. They don't have that width with the system that they play, and right there was an example of it. You're playing in and hoping someone's going around the corner, but they're not starting in a wide enough position to receive that pass. So although it can be effective going straight towards goal, they've got to make sure they're on the same wavelength.
So Andrew Redmayne, another ex-Raw man. He was at the club during your time there, Eric, during the Raw Salona days. It's often forgotten he played 2 matches during that period of time. Redmayne behind Michael Theo for much of that period of time.
He's had a great season. He really has been important for the Central Coast Mariners. He's the only keeper that hasn't had an error leading to a goal, apart from Jack Duncan, but active goalkeepers. And that says a lot about just how safe and secure he's been at the back for a struggling side. But last week's performance was just vintage.
Well, I actually thought he was Poseidon there at the Brisbane water end of Central Coast Stadium last week, the way that he was defending that goal. He's been absolutely outstanding. He was invoking the gods last week. It was a miraculous performance. What an experienced player to have back there. So Storm Root, second most appearances in Mariners history. He could well eclipse John Hutchinson if he remains at the Mariners beyond this season. He's contracted until the end of this year. This is Laval up and under. Oh, D'Agostino gets some contact there from Donachie.
Well, didn't he like that one? James Donachie. Welcome back. Nick D'Agostino. That's the spot to do it if you're going to let somebody know that you're in a contest.
Those two would know each other very well from victory days. As Muir's ball, it's a great one. Oh, and Orgler is going to be saved by the offside flag because he scored a wonderful goal last week against Victory, and that would have got an appearance in the bloopers reel. It may yet still.
Well, it was just borderline. Luckily for the Raw, it was quite high, but all the left-footed players combined. Savagnon, that's a perfect delivery. And then Aliagla, such a really cultured left foot. That's miles away.
Well, he'll say he knew the flag was going to come up. And both of his A-League goals, he scored 2. Both of them have won his side the match. 1-0 win for MacArthur a few years ago against Western United. And then last week in that delayed match due to the thunderstorm that rolled through. So here's Steele. What a story. 23 years of age, 100th A-League appearance. Captained the club in one of their AFC Champions League elite matches last year. He is Mariners through and through. And Muir, this is physical here between Billity and Muir. Look at this. Which way does Lachlan Peevers point here? Well, he says play on. He says 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
How many referees would we have seen in the competition have blown early and that not occurred? That was fantastic refereeing. Allowing it to play. It looked pretty fair from where we're standing.
I don't mind it, but when you do let that go sometimes, it can escalate a little bit, so he'll have to keep a lid on things.
Isn't that what we want, Benny?
Oh, we do want it, but how often have we seen it? Sometimes you let players get away with too much physicality and then you turn into a rugby match.
Well, it was a little shirt pulled just before it went down in that action there. But you love to see it. Both players going fairly for the ball in that frame. And that's going to be so important for the Brisbane Roar. We talk about Dean Bouzanis being at fault for a couple of goals recently, but it is in that back line. The loss of Harrington, not having the distances correct, not having that relationship and trust in front of him. And they've got to get it right, and that's perhaps why they've got maybe 3 players back there now centrally.
D'Agostino, Clyde, we're getting a toe in. I was going to mention Lachlan Keevers. You talk about pressure as a referee. He's an air traffic controller. So this ain't pressure when you've got planes flying through the sky in his usual job. Salas. He's doing a terrific job as Moragas just gets a little bit of a bump in the back from Vracas.
Houston Salas just continues to impress, and Moragas playing more and more at left back as the season goes on. We saw him getting forward quite a lot at the start of the year, didn't we, Lucas Moragas? But he's had to go in there and play his natural position, I guess you like. But you're not seeing him get forward as much.
He looks a likely character, Vracas, but just the end product hasn't been there for him this season. What would you like to see more from him? Oh, look at this. Here's the Brisbane Roar bench. They're up and about. Oh, the rivalry. It's resumed early here. Just 12 minutes and the players come together. And you just saw the Roar bench. They were up and about. And that's what Warren Moon was very unhappy with when they met on New Year's Eve.
Well, I think the Brisbane Roar have renewed their vigour and renewed their responsibility. It's going to be Sabatnor getting a yellow card, and the Brisbane Roar bench were right up there, and all the players came in. They've got to be careful they don't get into that toe-to-toe battle, because Brisbane Roar are the best at doing this and getting right under your skin. He was nowhere near the ball, and he had to make that challenge because I think he thought he was getting away from himself, but it's right in front of the bench of Brisbane as well.
Let's head down to the sideline with Scotty Mack. Scotty, how is it down there?
Oh, it's been entertaining. Michael Valkanis has been everywhere on this touchline so far. He's in about it, being the 12th man so far for his team. And, yeah, as you've seen there, boys, you know, once Salas was down, the whole bench was up and they were all in and about it. He's even told the 40 to sit down already. So I'm quite enjoying this. We've still got another 30-odd minutes to go in this first half. So, yeah, come back to me and I'll let you know more as it goes on.
Thank you, Scotty. Yeah, well, I must say, it is the best seat in the house. I was lucky enough to be sitting right there on New Year's Eve as it was all kicking off. It did quieten down once Michael Valkanis was sent to the sheds. No doubt he will not be hoping for that this afternoon. He'll want to keep the energy up on the sideline, riding this team through to turning around a rough run of form. Oh, here we go. Another off-the-ball incident. Valkanis Jr. with Laval. Now it's the Mariners. Josh Rose there, Mariners assistant coach, having a chat to Zach Keenan, the 4th official. They're going to fight fire with fire here this afternoon, it would seem.
Well, that's the problem sometimes as well for Brisbane Roar, because every team now lifts to match that intensity, that aggression. And for a club like the Mariners, who are struggling, maybe that 10 or 20% shift in mentality and aggression gets them over the top of Brisbane Roar come the end of the 90 minutes. So it does work against Brisbane. If they're not up to their usual levels of being aggressive, they can't shake that tag now.
It's a great point. It really is. Because it means you have to hold that line week on week. What a day of footballing action we've got in the Isuzu UTE League. Auckland taking down Sydney FC. What a fortnight it's been for the Sky Blues. Defeat to victory, win in the derby, defeat to Auckland. And we've got this one here from Redcliffe. And then straight off the back of this one, it's Melbourne City and Western Sydney Wanderers. Two sides who really need to pick up 3 points. Western Sydney to get themselves off the bottom, and Melbourne City will have to find some kind of momentum before a likely knockout stage's appearance in the Champions League Elite.
Got to love that battle, and possibly having an extra man in the back line helps ability get out into a wider position to go and stop Savagnon from opening up his legs. When he starts moving and gets runs over the top, that's where he can be really dangerous, Savagnon.
It's where the Mariners have looked their best this season, with that speed, physicality, tenacity up front. And with these January recruits, Warren Moon's been able to double down on that with Laval. DePizio stepped up to another level. Donnell in midfield, Orgler as well. So it's been a strategy which has worked for the Mariners in those victories earlier in the season. And you can see through January, they may well be just turning the corner. If they make the finals, the Mariners, it will be one of the great results in their history based on what they've been through this season.
Especially with everything that's gone on off the field for the Central Coast Mariners, and a coach like Warren Moon, you look at the way he's handled this situation. He's been able to cut out whatever's been happening off the pitch and not allow it to come into the on-the-pitch stuff. And that's the biggest thing you can achieve as a manager when things aren't going your way. Because he came into that situation not knowing what his future was going to be. Interim coach, still is interim coach, in a sense. But now with all these things happening off the pitch, these signings were made when he was at the club, but it would have been under the old regime as well. So it has a very Sydney Olympic feel to some of the signings. And of course, Keita Taniguchi was another one of those signings that was done with the old regime. So Warren Moon's been a big part of it, but he's held it all together like a good manager should.
Brisbane looking long and looking forward, and it's going to beat Salas just over the sideline. So an intriguing first 18 and a bit minutes, almost 19 minutes to start this one. You've got the two lowest volume passes in the competition. Mariners have the least passes, Brisbane second fewest. So big question here is, who wants to dictate play? Who wants the ball? Brisbane have it right now, and it's Klein straight into the lap of Redmayne. First sight on goal.
Well, it is promising from the Brisbane Roar, being able to manufacture a chance in one-touch football, playing through with ease by the looks of it against the Mariners. But yeah, to your point, Benny, it is going to be a case of who wants the ball. I think the Brisbane Roar possibly operate best without it, and the Mariners probably operate with the ball a little bit better. They're cleaner in possession, they want to build up, and you can see already how much of the ball that they've had.
You can see they're absolutely dead level basically when it comes to passes thus far. So too accuracy. The one key difference between these two sides this season, when it comes to style, of course the aggression from Brisbane, but the Mariners' efficiency in front of goal. Don't create a whole lot of chances, but when they create them, they are ruthlessly efficient. And Brisbane have not been at that same level this season. Valkanis encouraging the energy, the press from his side, and Vracas, well, a little too eager there. He let Moraga sneak to the outside, and that is excellent work from the Mariners winger.
Yeah, top level work, Lucas Moragas, because this is what the game requires, is to try and get close contact from somebody from Brisbane Roar and get through the lines with the ball. Here he is again. He's got a lot of ball on this left-hand side so far, Lucas Moragas. Can he get further forward?
And you can see the license he gets there. So Stormrue is the right back. More defensive, sits a bit deeper. Moragas gets the option to play that hybrid fullback winger role. Has worked really well for Warrenman. He has played some games as an out-and-out winger this season, but Warrenman just prefers that left-back option. Gets through so much work in a match. And here he is again, finding space down the left, but closed off by Salas, who has the speed to match Moragas. So trying to blunt the impact of one of the Mariners' key chiselers when it comes to creating chances. This is poked over the top nicely. Cross is a high one. And D'Agostino looking for the release of Vracas. Mayoroni. And that is too simple for James Donachie. Understand that high long ball option being a decent tactic over the head of Brad Tapp, but James Donachie, he is a pillar at the back there for the Mariners. Not going to get much over his head.
And just going centrally really limits your options and success rate. They've got to try and get on either side of the big man into the channels and make them come out of their position.
Oh, Muir, that is outstanding work. Moragas with the early delivery. And Billity able to win it, but then the pass is a poor one. Rue. And this is Orgler, the match winner against Melbourne victory last week. Donnell. Orgler loves those situations. Does he earn a free kick? He does. He was looking for the contact. And the Mariners with a free kick in a really good position here.
This is a combination I think we're going to get used to seeing. Stormrue playing into Orgler, but it was Sabat Muir just hustling and bustling and playing that ball forward. Great run forward. And a great ball in again from Moragas, trying to find somebody inside the box. And the Raw just don't deal with it. They try and play out. They looked a little bit sloppy, and that cheeky little 1-2 there. Sam Klein was very late on that challenge. This is a great area for the Central Coast Mariners.
Mariners have the second most goals from set pieces this season. 3 corners and 3 penalties. None from a free kick, but you could say it's in a similar position to the corner flag. Orgler will get some good shape here. Donnell with the away swing option. The breeze is dead still though. Free kick straight into the arms of Dean Bazanis. And he may have copped a little bit of contact on the way down. And that'll be a confidence boosting grab for him, because he didn't have his best afternoon last week against the Jets. Well, is this a concern?
He's landed funny here. Well, I'm not sure if he's holding his ankle or his Achilles. Let's hope it's the ankle. Just here. Oh, he's gone over on Billity and he's rolled his left ankle. That's a sore one. Watch it here. That's nasty. He's still rolling around. Just there.
You wouldn't think it would end his match, though, would you? Unless it's ankle ligaments. If it's just a rolled ankle, you would think he should be able to continue. They've got Macklin Freak on the bench, who has not been cited this season in a playing capacity.
You'd like to think so. I mean, he's played through a lot this year already, Dean Bazanis, but you're right. I think that relationship with Bazanis and the back line, it just needs to continue to heal and improve, because it hasn't been at its best the last couple of weeks.
Well, let's head down to Scotty McDonald. Scotty, what have your thoughts so far on this one?
Yeah, certainly drinks break is needed, boys. It's very, very hot here in the conditions, in that sunshine on the field. But, you know, like you alluded to there in the commentary, down this left-hand side is key for Central Coast Mariners with Moragas and Ngor as well. You know, just a couple of times if I'm Warren Moon and Central Coast Mariners, I'd like Ngor to be on the outside ability. He always seems to find himself in the inside, and then ability's able to block him. When Moragas gets that ball down the side, he wants to play that ball down. So they want Salas out. That's what they're trying to achieve down this side for sure. And then Orgler trying to get 1v1 on the other side. For Brisbane Roar, though, you have to say their number 10s need to get more involved. But in order to do that, the likes of Klein and Moroney, they need to try and find them in those spaces. They're absolutely non-existent when they have the ball, and therefore the only option at times is to go in behind. But you rarely see the likes of Avrakas or Royce actually getting in the pockets and getting on the half turn and then getting attacks from there. We haven't seen that at all from Brisbane Roar pretty much this season, and that's something where they need to improve.
Thanks, Scotty. Yeah, the only chance for Brisbane to this point of the game was that strike from Sam Klein from distance. Outside of that, struggled to create. And it's been a theme throughout the season, even when they were playing well. But in those matches, they were able to get a lead and then really go to work. They need to find a way to get themselves in front here today. Roos just really struggling to get himself into the game. You can see there a rare touch for the front man.
Scotty McDonald makes a really interesting point there. It's almost as if Brisbane have put more players in the back line to make sure they don't concede. And what does that mean further forward? They're still very flat, very central. There is no creation. They've got to get back to being hard to beat. You can see it in the formation, you can see it in the aggression, and they're just hoping that they can sneak one somehow and hold on.
Well, they found the goals in the matches before last week against Newcastle. They scored 2 against Perth in that 2-1 win, and then 2 against Adelaide in the 3-2 defeat. And the Roar in their media channel, they actually said those performances were similar to the Raw Salona days. They were pumping them up as free-flowing attacking football. Well, they've gone the other way now. It's strange. It almost seems like they're caught between the way they want to play, and obviously they've decided to go back to the formation that worked so well at the start of the season for them. Tap linking with Nyor. And this physical duel has been one to watch. Nyor v Billity, really strong in the upper body. And they've been going to work throughout the opening half hour, but limited chances to speak about in Redcliffe. We are only 22 days and a couple of hours away from the AFC Women's Asian Cup, starting in March. You can catch every game live on Paramount Plus. Grab your tickets if you haven't already secured them. Little dink over the top from Roos.
And that's where you want him. That's where you want Michael Roos to operate, getting someone isolated one-on-one, and in a wide area even better, because you've got D'Agostino just waiting there to pounce. But it's very interesting that the Mariners are choosing not to go through the middle as well. A lot of their players getting it out wide into that area where there should be an advantage for the Coasts.
I haven't heard the whistle. This will be a free kick for Brisbane. Well, you mentioned the Mariners' record here in Redcliffe. It's quite staggering, their record in Queensland. They actually are undefeated in their last 5 against Brisbane in the Sunshine State. They've won their last 4. It's quite remarkable. March 2020 was the last time Brisbane beat the Mariners in Queensland. Agostino herring after it, putting Donachie under pressure. Well, that gives the home fans something to get excited about. He's been somewhat of a lone ranger up front, but he created something out of nothing there, D'Agostino.
James Donachie, exactly where he was playing against the Melbourne Victory, getting involved, making sure he's clearing his lines and making clear decisions. But it's just a long ball over the top. And it's good connection between the goalkeeper and defender as well. Redders didn't come all the way out and think he was going to get that. He trusted James Donachie there.
Well, almost half Brisbane's goals this season have come from set pieces. 7 of the 16. So this is dangerous moments here for the Mariners. McGarry with the in-swinger. Redmayne got an arm to it. It was a strong arm too. And then a free kick ensues. High fives all round.
It seems like a simple thing to go and get a touch on a cross for a goalkeeper, but it isn't. When you crowd it in there, you've got bodies, it's swinging in, you've got the sun in your eyes, and he's got a great leap, Andrew Redmayne, and his defenders did really well to allow him that space to come out and get a touch on it. And they're the ones that give you confidence as a team that you can deal with anything. Your goalkeeper's on form, he's on song, it gives you that confidence at the back.
Good touch from Roos. In and around Moragas. Not easy to do. Towards D'Agostino, and it pops up here for Redmayne. Well, that you feel is the blueprint for Brisbane. Michael Roos able to find that pocket of space in behind with a lovely touch.
It doesn't get better than that. That touch to get past Moragas, and I would have loved to have seen D'Agostino attack that ball. I'm not sure what he was waiting for. It seemed as though he was in front of James Donachie there.
They're just starting to put the strands together of a case here, Brisbane. It's taken them more than half an hour. That corner kick, chance there for D'Agostino. He's getting himself into the game. It's a patch of the game where Brisbane have been particularly strong this season, not conceding in the 15-minute window before half-time. It's so crucial. It can be somewhat deflating.
Yeah, strong again from Salas. Knows exactly what he's doing every single time he's got the ball. It's a very profitable time for them as well, scoring goals, Benny. They've got 5 in this zone, the Brisbane Roar, so something must click for them. A little switch that gets flicked, and you know, you hope for the game's sake that it's one of those where it brings the game to life, because it's a little bit slow in patches and very Route 1 from the Brisbane Roar.
So we spoke about the battle for possession, or maybe the battle to not be in possession today. If you're going by that train of thought, the Mariners are losing that battle. 61% possession in the last 10 minutes. And Brisbane probably with the better chances during that period of time. So it probably goes to the fact that both of these two sides do like to play on the counter.
Oh no, Mayoroni. Warramoo not happy with the challenge. Looked like it was slightly from behind. I think that's the blueprint for the Brisbane Roar. They don't want too much possession. They want to turn chances into quick chances like this.
Oh, terrific intervention from Tap. And then the ability to earn the free kick with a bit of swift body movement and control. Back in the starting side, he was actually dropped last week. Warren Moon has said the competition for places is now as high as it has been throughout his time at the Mariners. That's why Harry Steele's back in today. He said his work on the training paddock has been top-notch the last couple of weeks, and that's why he's back in. So he felt like to start the season there was only sort of 16, 17 first-team players, and that competition wasn't quite there. But the transfer window has brought some joy to the coast and to Warren Moon. It's a nice turn from Valkanis. And it's not quite a great touch from Vraka. D'Agostino hoofs it across here, and Salas has turned it all around there for Brisbane. So they can maintain possession.
Yeah, it's something for the Central Coast Mariners to consider in the game plan, is to try and involve the front two. You know, we talk about DiPizio and Laval. They've only touched the ball sort of 9 or 10 times in this game so far. They're not getting involved.
Whip on offer that time from Salas, and it's Donachie. He's sticking to his task, James Donachie, but Nick D'Agostino, you just feel like every time on those low deliveries comes into the box, he is in the game, and it's happening more frequently.
Yeah, doesn't he love it? James Donachie, he loves these sorts of challenges. When it's one-on-one, he's like, just bring it on. Bring it on in the box and test me. It's exactly what he wants to do. And D'Agostino, he's sharp, he's nippy.
And he's also got a long throw. Who said bicep curls weren't required of a footballer? Powerful throw, but Moragas got his head to it. So another searching ball forward. Oh, Moragas fell awkwardly. He's back to his feet though, so that's a good sign. So DiPizio, he has to drop back into midfield. He's going to earn a free kick here. He's asking for more. Mayoroni's walking from the scene of the crime. He's not avoiding it. He's into the book.
Yeah, and that's his 5th yellow card. He's suspended for the next game. So since he's came in, he's been really robust for the Brisbane Roar. But that was 2 or 3 challenges now that were just a little bit borderline, coming from behind, making sure that nobody's going to get a touch in that zone. That's what he wants.
Well, it's a good point you make there about the 5th yellow card. It's a alarm bells kind of game here for Brisbane, because they've got Bazanis on 4, Klein on 4. Here's New's chance. Sprays it into the den. Vidic, McGarry also on 4. They don't need to lose anyone else because O'Shea's also injured. So we have a look at this chance again.
It's the Mariners' turn to go route 1, and if they had a better finish on it, that's not a bad entry point. Getting inside Brisbane's box over the top. But you're right, Ben. They've got to be a little bit tactful about who and what time somebody gets suspended for the next game, because if you're losing 4 or 5 players, as we've seen already, losing 3 key ones, they don't need any more to be lost. But in fairness, everyone thinks that Brisbane Roar are this aggressive side, and yes, they've had 2 players sent off. This is the first suspension for an accumulation of yellow cards, so it hasn't been that bad, even though they have the most yellow cards in the competition.
Well, it hasn't been that bad yet. It could be. And have you ever heard of a goalkeeper, Andrew Howe no doubt would have the stats on this, a goalkeeper suspended for yellow card accumulation this early in the season? It would be incredible. He's got 10 yellow cards for his career, the Raw keeper. 4 have come this season. So that's in the A-League. There's a little bit of a clip on Laval. DePizio also has gone down. There's players down everywhere, and here we go. Klein and Laval come together. Valkanis has come sprinting in. And it's all kicking off once again. Now, there were 3 Mariners players within a 3-second period that all hit the deck. And Lachlan Keevers is saying, no way. Not quite sure what that is in response to.
Well, there's a contact, I thought, for Laval, but just there, he wasn't happy with the second touch there on Steele. And Laval's trying to stick up for his teammate, thinking that this is the time that the Mariners show their grit. And then there comes Salas, and there comes Billity and Valkanis.
So here we go. DePizio is...
But why did he fall over?
Well, there wasn't much in that contact, was there? And I think he's saying that... I'm pretty sure it was Valkanis, his contact. I'd have to double check on the replay, but it looked as though Valkanis was just holding his line. DePizio ran straight into it. Here we go. Well, it was Ludwig, and does he change his line, Eric? Slightly, maybe, but as a player, you've got to avoid them, don't you? What do you think?
He knew what he was doing.
Yeah. Well, they both knew what they were doing. And I think that's good officiating. Well, he knew he was up for one today, Lachlan Keevers, with these 2 sides. And what happened on New Year's Eve. So Orgler with the left-footed swinger. And Redmayne launching it back from where it came. Donnell. This is the former Mariner McGarry, a championship winner, would you believe, back in 2023. Vrakis is not earning a free kick for that little scrounge for possession.
But there was the snapshot right there. Brisbane Roar, 7 or 8 orange shirts in their own half, and they had maybe 2 or 3 in the attacking half, and they just haven't got the numbers forward.
Oh, Klein, nice footwork. Does he unleash? Not quite. Leaves it for Salas. Spills D'Agostino! There's a dagger into the heart of the Mariners. Right before half-time. And there's his first on return to the Roar.
Well, they don't need numbers forward. If they've got players like Nick D'Agostino in the box for the Brisbane Roar. He's given us so many great finishes over the years. On the Harvey Norman replay, it was Salas bursting forward, and he just put something into the box. They don't clear it. Stormroo gets a big piece of this going to the far post. It's not cleared, and it's great technique from Nick D'Agostino to direct it towards goal. He's Michael Valkanis' new weapon up top for the Brisbane Roar, and it just had to be Nick D'Agostino. He's off the mark, and he'll want more.
So his first goal for the Roar since 2019, and he scores now in back-to-back starts. And what a moment right in the shadows of half-time. A huge, huge moment, and we spoke about this just a matter of moments ago. Brisbane Roar, in the period before half-time, they don't concede, and they have scored regularly. And it's a massive, massive period before the break. And they've come up trumps yet again.
Oh, a massive player in that move was Houston Salas. How far did he run to support that opening for Sam Klein? It looked as though he was opening up to nothing and nobody on that right-hand side. We talked about them not having width, but it was all about Salas's arrival.
And for the Mariners, they've looked so assured through this first half defensively. But when you've got Nick D'Agostino breathing down your neck, it only takes one moment. And he was able to deliver. Sumptuous strike past Redmayne. And Brisbane lead at Redcliffe, a venue where the Mariners have never lost. Oh, and Moragas and Roos. Now they have to be careful here, the Mariners. They do not want to get themselves caught up in Brisbane's style of play, but it can be difficult when you're frustrated after conceding. Newell looks up. Delivers to Moragas. Moragas' delivery's a good one, and there is the equaliser. DePizio finds a stoppage time reply, and Brisbane do concede goals before half-time. That's the first one this season, and the Mariners with a perfect response in Redcliffe.
Well, it's come to life right before half-time here at KO Stadium. The Mariners back on level terms. It was a little bit of a whitewash in the middle of the park. Savagnon burst forward, gets a little bit lucky here on the Harvey Norman replay, but it's again Lucas Moragas in the right spot at the right time, delivering something decent inside the box. And the Mariners, weapon of their own, Miggy DePizio, arriving late and arriving at the precise moment to put it into the corner. It's bounced in over Bazanis, and don't they just love it, the Mariners?
Well, look at Laval standing over Bazanis. He's saying, well, we'll bring the fire and brimstone as well. And just as the storyline on New Year's Eve played out, Brisbane took the lead, Mariners responded. It's the same turn of events in Redcliffe. D'Agostino, well, I'll tell you what, the drama of the last 5 minutes. We didn't have too much to speak about in the first 43, but the highlights packed from the first half's been sorted in the last 5.
Oh, Lachlan Keevers, don't blow your whistle. Keep it going. That was a good chance, that one, as well, for D'Agostino. He had Vracas or McGarry overlapping on the outside. I think it was Vracas, actually. It was a good look.
Well, don't go anywhere. What's going to happen at half-time? Remember what happened last time. New Year's Eve, bit of a scuffle in the tunnel. There's been some simmering half-time tensions. And Brisbane, you can see the frustration after taking the lead, working so hard to get themselves in front. Michael Valkanis strides out onto KO Stadium, cutting a frustrated figure after the Mariners found that equaliser right on the stroke of half-time. It's a long walk down the tunnel for both sets of players. A rueful shake of the head from McGarry after D'Agostino opened the scoring, but then just 3 minutes later, Miggy DePizio with the equaliser for the Mariners. Half-time in Redcliffe. Brisbane Roar 1, Central Coast Mariners 1. Tara and the team will be back right after the break to sum up all that first half action.
Cara Cooney crossed in, Savannah, long shot, and she finds it! When you unite together for that one goal in the 90 minutes, it's something special. That is special! Huge moment for the Matildas.
The only place to see the Combank Matildas and every game of the AFC Asian Cup is on Paramount Plus.
Welcome back to Redcliffe. This is match day 16 of the Isuzu UTE League. And it's Brisbane Roar. And the Mariners locked up at 1 apiece. Warren Moon has gone to his bench. Bailey Brantman coming into the game for Sabit Nyor. We'll get Eric Pardalou's thoughts on that very, very soon. It's an interesting change. Nyor was making life difficult for Brisbane in the first half. So underway in the second half. Brisbane desperate to turn around a wretched run of poor form. 5 defeats in their last 6. They took the lead here, Eric Pardalou, but the Mariners hit back before half-time. How resilient are they in Redcliffe this afternoon?
Well, let's hope it continues where we left off in that first half. It was a great finish to the game. Brisbane Roar will be absolutely burning. They couldn't hang on to something going into half-time, but the Mariners have been so resilient this season in many games, many fixtures, and they'll be wanting more. I'm very surprised that Sabit Nyor's come off for the Mariners. I think maybe he'd have to have a niggle or maybe some sort of complaint, because I thought he was more involved than some of the other guys for the Central Coast Mariners on the pitch.
Well, Nick Agostino's just copped a nasty one here from Donachie.
That looks like it's a cork in the glute, and when you cop a cork, and if your body or your muscles are flexed in a position, that can hurt you even more. And you could see he was in a squat position, and Donachie's come straight through him, and that one will be hanging around for a couple of days.
Well, we'll be heading down to Scotty McDonald very, very soon for the news on that Mariners change, but for the moment they're defending this Brisbane set piece. So the ex-Mariner McGarry, and it is McGarry to take. Swing it to that back post, and it's comfortable grab for Redmayne. So let's head down to Scotty McDonald.
Yep, I can confirm. Just had a quick little chat with Warren there just as the game kicked off. It is tactical. It's because he obviously picked up a yellow card in that first half with Ngor. So doesn't want to give anything away, Warren. Obviously back into the game now and doesn't want the Brisbane Roar jumping up in the next challenge. So I think, yeah, we'll wait and see if that's a smart move or not. Like you said there, Eric, yeah, he was having somewhat an effect in that first half. So Brantman comes on and we'll see what he has to deliver now.
Well, either way, it's a positive move to make some sort of change, and Brantman's a great substitution to bring in. He's been in some good form, and maybe just thinks he can get something better in the wide area for the Mariners.
So the long throw. 2 goals from throws this season. Brisbane couldn't add to that account. And the Mariners with Ludwig and Billity, Valcana sprinting back. They certainly sense the danger there with Moragas down the left, but the Mariners just happy to work it around the back line. So an intriguing move there. Nyor off. As you heard there from Scotty Mack. Yeah, the Brisbane bench, they do get up and about. No doubt they would have been putting a lot of pressure on any defensive involvement from Sabit Nyor. So he wants to take that danger out of the game. And Bailey Brantman, here's a player. And he wants to thread this one in behind. A different kind of player to Nyor, not as physical. Real technical player, and he can find a goal. He's found the back of the net a couple of times this season. Round 11 against Adelaide, and also round 4 against the Glory. Just a final note on Brantman. He's actually a Queenslander. Was born in Sydney, but youth football at Moreton Bay. Here's McGarry hanging it up. Redmayne should claim and does. Mariners trying to methodically work their way forward. They've given it away. In Brisbane, Pounce. Klein. Oh! Problem here. Roos goes down in the box. Lachlan Keevers took a moment, and he says it's all clear. Sam Kelly, the VAR will have a look at it. There's no doubt about that, but you would probably expect it to stay with the on-field decision. Is there enough to overturn? We know the weight is with the on-field referee's decision.
Archie Thompson was calling for this in the half-time show. It's Sammy Klein getting a little bit more freedom to face forward, and he just played that ball into Roos, and it looked as though tap went down very early. And now this is very similar to the one we saw in Wellington in terms of where is Michael Roos meant to go here in that situation. If somebody goes to ground and you want to continue running, where do your legs have to go? And that's exactly what Michael Roos is asking from the referee there, is that if I'm going and somebody's on the ground, that's stopping me from getting forward.
So just confirming, oh, here we go. Bit of touchline drama. That wasn't to Michael Valkanis. Someone else on the Brisbane Roar bench. Might be their mind coach there, I think. He's gone into the book.
Well, they've got to be careful. They do have a history, a very recent one.
Have to be very, very careful. Now, well, Shane Stefanuto it's gone to. So Stefanuto into the book, not for the first time in his A-League career. Here's Orgler. This is Valkanis. And, well, the delivery, not the best. No one there at the back post or just beyond the back stick for the Mariners.
I feel for Ali Orgler. You can't just allow him the space and time to go and operate himself. If you're the Central Coast Mariners, that's where you'd love to see an arrival of somebody to get forward and help him. Storm Roo, Donnell, somebody going and making an extra number to allow him that space to shift onto his left foot.
D'Agostino peeling wide. Enough weight on the pass. Was there? No, not quite. Brantman. Hang on. Laval has gone to the ground again. And this time Lachlan Keevers does say there was enough in that for a free kick. I think that's about 2 or 3 times Laval has gone down off the ball.
Well, Lachlan Keevers has got to have about 8 sets of eyes on this game. It's ability running back, and it looked like it just a coming together, and I'm not entirely sure if that was a foul.
Well, that's the kind of contact you would likely see from Brisbane Lions in the Aussie rules. Oh, that's what happens in Aussie rules. The battle for that one-on-one duel, and happens a lot off the ball. And on that occasion, Lachlan Keevers said no. Too much going on there. Mayoroni turning, trying to turn away from danger, but there were Mariners coming from everywhere. And D'Agostino didn't give away the free kick. I believe it's just a throw. He's wagging his finger, but I don't think it's a free kick, or is it? I believe it is.
This game's moments away from exploding.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
You can just feel it every time the ball goes close to that Brisbane Roar bench. Michael Valkanis, if he could stick a leg out, he would.
It's a tinder box. When's it going to go up? DePizio has the overlap of Roo. Back to DePizio, already won in the first half, and that is well defended by Valkanis. He's been one of the Roar's best defensively in recent weeks, even scored last week against Newcastle. Thwarting DePizio. excellent towing from Donnell. From Fulham, he's their second team captain. Did begin his A-League career in Perth before going to Fulham. And Warren Moon, cannot speak highly enough of him. Just his competitiveness at training week in, week out, his professionalism. Just feel like another one of those players who has just helped take the Mariners to a new level through January and now into February. Brantman leading the chase, hooks it back towards the middle. Billity, oh, and then a juggle from Bazanis. And he looks for the quick release. That could have all ended pear-shaped for the Raw.
It's a moment in the game where I think the Mariners are going to start to control this. They're very comfortable playing through the lines, getting into some dangerous areas. And for the Raw, they're just playing that outlet pass and saying to somebody one-on-one, go and get us out of this problem. They need to get a little bit more together and keep the ball.
Rue away from Vracas. Donnell keeps it moving for the Centurion steal. Now the 1-2. Moragas and Brantman. Good delivery from Brantman. VAR was making the run at the near post. Now, is there a problem here? I wonder if Lachlan Keevers knew about this beforehand, because he blew his whistle almost before Valkanis had hit the deck.
Well, it's a problem area for the Brisbane Raw. If they lose Valkanis here, and they haven't replaced Harrington, and there's a lot of reasons behind that, I gather, but having Ludwig, having Billity, having Valkanis, just here. He was very quick to react there, the referee.
It was almost as if he knew that there was an issue. He was straight over. So this is most certainly a concern for Brisbane, because you look at their bench: Dench, a wide player; Vidic, attacking player; Halloran, McNichol, Emmett Shaw, Jordan Lawton, the outfield players. And medium to long term, I don't think Brisbane backline is secure. They need to look at bringing somebody in. And this is going to be the test the next couple of days to the next couple of weeks. Where do Brisbane Raw want to finish this year? They've got to try and get somebody else in that back line to provide cover, if nothing else. Well, if you just joined us, it was a rapid-fire end of the first half. Brisbane scoring in the 44th minute. Nick D'Agostino, first match back in the A-League since returning during the January transfer window. And then, literally, minutes later, Miggy DiPizio with his third goal of the season. He's not going anywhere. There was talk that he may be on his way out of the Central Coast. Well, he has doubled down at the Mariners, and he scored his third of the season to lock this one up at 1 apiece. So we sit where we sat for most of the game in Gosford on New Year's Eve. Brisbane snatched it in stoppage time, thanks to Justin Vidic on that occasion. And good news for the Raw is Valkanis, after that check of the knee, it would seem, is good to continue.